Trump just constantly is winning. Here, let me show you how hard he's winning. This is the Polymarket odds. Strait of Hormuz traffic returns to normal by end of June. There are currently 2 weeks remaining in June. And as you can see, Trump's inevitable peace deal gets announced. It takes the odds from 8% to just 17%. Just 17% that the Strait of Hormuz actually opens. That is fucking crazy, given that the president tweeted, not that the Strait of Hormuz will open, but that it is open. Literally, the president of the United States, I want you to understand how insane this is. The president of the United States states the Strait of Hormuz is open for business, and the odds of it actually being open is just 17%. That means that the market believes there is a no shit 82% chance that the president of the United States is actively lying. I mean, we understand this is intuitively what's happening, but that the president of the United States, I mean, I want you to understand, this is not like couched language like we hope to see traffic return soon. This is literally the president stating peace in our time. The Strait of Hormuz is open. We have signed a peace deal. And the market, the smart money, literally is like it had a 10% change in the odds of it being true. Maybe you're like, well, it's going to take a while. But as you can see, look, the president's own statement that the Strait of Hormuz is open took it from this is, by the way, by July 15th, the odds of that just 37%. And by July 31st, they still are rating it. Okay, the July 31st, interestingly enough, the odds of this actually have been climbing, probably because this well, this doesn't even include their inside the 60-day negotiations window. But even those odds are they're giving him a little better than a 50-50 split that he gets it open by July. Like, I want you to understand how insane this is, how little credibility is left of the American president. Literally 11 minutes ago, somebody said June 30th, free money. 2 hours ago, somebody said very large crude carriers signaling the UAE as their next destination are tracked sailing as far as the South China Sea across the Indian Ocean. At least 23 VLCCs are currently headed for UAE ports. People are like free money. Okay, the Trump people are like free money. Well, there obviously isn't. Iran and Oman stress safe passage through Hormuz under the MOU. Iranian foreign minister and his Omani counterpart emphasized in a Tuesday phone call the need to uphold international law and ensure safe and free passage of ships. Again, saying that this is what should happen is not the same thing as what is happening. People love, you notice there's so many people that say, things like opening the Strait of Hormuz is good without assigning blame to who closed it. That's a classic politician thing. So according to AIS data, at least 2 national Iranian tanker companies, super tankers, have exited the U.S. Navy blockade perimeter, carrying 3.8 million barrels of Iranian crude between them. These are Iran's first crude oil exports in 2 months. Right? Ooh, Channel 12 has released the MOU between the U.S. and Iran. One, the Iran and their allies will cease hostilities, including in Lebanon. Uh-oh. Iran reiterates its commitment to not develop or acquire nuclear weapons. Okay, no change. No change from what the DNI assessed in January. It says the U.S. and Iran pledged to resolve the disposal of a rich uranium stockpile. Okay, that's like saying me and my brother plan to resolve our dispute. And I'm like, we don't have a dispute. But you know what I mean? But like, we plan to resolve our dispute. And in my mind, I go, yeah, we're going to resolve it by him admitting he's wrong and I'm right. And he goes, no, Paul's going to admit he's wrong and I'm right. So we both pledge, we both agree that we'll totally get to the bottom. We'll totally resolve it. U.S. and Iran to discuss enrichment issue and Iran's nuclear needs. A promise to talk. Iran will maintain the status quo on its nuclear program as long as negotiations continue. The U.S. will lift the naval blockade, not impose new sanctions, and will not increase forces in the region during the negotiations. Iran will make the necessary arrangements to ensure safe passage of Iran will make the necessary arrangements to ensure safe passage of commercial vessels through the strait free of charge for 60 days. U.S. pledges to make frozen Iranian assets available for use with the implementation of the MOU. Wow. Well, wow, that's a lot of money. If a final agreement is reached, the U.S. will withdraw its forces within 30 days and lift all sanctions on Iran. So we already know that the final agreement has to include a total withdrawal of damn, dude, the U.S. pledged to withdraw its forces from the Middle East. That's what I assume it's referencing, because it says the U.S. is going to lift its naval blockade and not increase forces in the region. Now it says it's going to withdraw forces from the region. Any final agreement will include a plan to establish a $300 billion fund for Iran's reconstruction. Wait, what did the U.S. get? U.S. will give Iran temporary sanctioned waivers to sell oil during negotiations. Negotiations will be held between Iran and Oman with the participation of Gulf states to define arrangements. Wow. This is insane. This is total capitulation. Wow, dude. The U.S. gave Iran everything. Whoa, I gotta see this. Okay. So, yeah, it sounds like it sounds like these are the main clauses. They didn't actually release like the document, but this is the clauses from the document. This is crazy if true. This is a insane level of capitulation. I mean, this is wild. I mean, I want you to understand how little the U.S. gets here. Look, what did the U.S. get from Iran? It reiterated that it doesn't want to build a nuclear weapon, which has always been the assessment of the U.S. intelligence community for 25 straight years. So, no change. And then a promise, a vague promise to do something, to maybe resolve, a promise to talk about an issue, a promise to talk about an issue, a promise to talk about an issue, or a promise not to change while we talk. The U.S. will lift the naval blockade, so U.S. concedes, not impose new sanctions, so U.S. concedes, not increase free forces in the region during negotiations. Is Iran, by the way, is not doing the same. Iran is not committing to do the same. Iranian forces are allowed to rebuild, strengthen, resume drone production, resume missile production, all of that. Iran will make necessary arrangements to ensure safe passage of commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz free of charge for 60 days, implying that the negotiations may allow it to charge tolls and fees. U.S. pledges to make frozen. So the U.S. Okay, this is a hard point, saying that regardless of what else. So okay, the U.S. will make frozen Iranian assets available, and then if a final agreement is reached, the final agreement will include the retreat of U.S. forces and the lift of all sanctions on Iran, as long as there is some agreement. Any final agreement will commit Iran to pay $300 billion for Iran's reconstruction. By the way, guys, I want to point out, Iran is going to pay $0 for Gulf state reconstruction. It's going to pay $0 to the United States for destroying our bases. This is indistinguishable from if the president just told all the vessels to just turn around. He could have just told the ships to just turn around. U.S. to give Iran temporary sanctions waivers to sell oil during negotiations. So again, the U.S. gives up something. What does Iran give up? Negotiations will be held between Iran and Oman with the participation of the Gulf to define arrangements regarding shipping and maritime services. So this implies the existence of that there will be tolls, because the only commitment is that there aren't going to be tolls for 60 days and the arrangements of shipping. So what has the U.S. gotten? What did Iran yield to the U.S.? Something that it already had said? That's the only concrete thing. And what did Iran gain? Iran gained $300 billion guaranteed. It says guaranteed, done deal, locked in. A withdrawal of U.S. forces from the Middle East. Done deal, committed. Not up for negotiation. locked in waivers to sell oil. Billions to Iran. Billions, dude. 3.3 million barrels. Right? I mean, we just saw 3.3 million today. Times $80 a barrel of Brent crude. Is $31 million. Yeah, no, sorry. 3 million barrels times 80 is $160 million. So it's going to make $160 million a day. After 10 days of this, it'll be 1.6 billion. So they're going to earn around 4 to 6 billion just for that, which is nothing compared to the 300 billion we just committed to give them. Holy shit. Holy shit. We lost another war. Like, we literally have lost another war. I mean, look. I mean, the Iranians aren't going to, they're not paying the Israelis for October 7th. They are not paying any of the Gulf countries. They're not paying us. Whoa. By the way, guys, I know, hey, thanks for you guys that just turned in. It is not clickbait. Here we go. Let me show you. Russian warship files warning shots at UK registered yacht in the channel, which is thanks for nothing. And reportedly, according to the Russian Ministry of Defense, they're claiming that the crew of their frigate discovered a British flag civilian sailing vessel called the Bright Future in the English Channel, heading dangerously close to the ship under power. The frigate's crew made several attempts to contact the civilian vessel, and no change in the yacht's course or response. To attract the attention of the yacht's crew, flares were fired and sound signals were sounded. This is the Russian story, but the Russians are designated. After closing the distance to 150 meters, the frigate's commander fired preemptively at the vessel's course with small arms. Whoa. The British flagged yacht changed course and moved away from the warship. That's the Russian story. But remember, this is a combat vessel escorting sanctioned tankers. Okay. Let's see if we can learn anything about the Bright Future yacht. Oh, here we go. Oh, they say it literally was just an accident. It's a random British couple, retirees. What? I mean, I don't know, dude. Okay, let's see if I can find this without total clickbait slop. Okay, this literally claims Jane and Alan Nevy were selling their 40-foot yacht, the Bright Future. Came within 500 yards of the Kremlin frigate before it fired warning shots into the air. Okay, so this might just be boomers just boomering it up. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Check out another video here. And, of course, become a member at combatvetnews.com for access to an entire archive of premium videos, including combat footage that YouTube would never let me show you. The link is in the description. And, of course, a huge thanks to all of the Combat Vet News members.